and gentlemen, welcome to the American Masterminds. I'm your host tonight, Topher Sheeler. I'm joined by the one and only Mr. Rob Adams.
What up?
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a very special evening planned for you. Rob, why don't you tell our guests who our guest is?
Oh, man, I've got to tell you guys, I'm so excited to have this gentleman on the show. His name is Alan Hardy. He's a new friend and a lifelong friend, and the message that he has to share is something I believe everyone needs to hear tonight. So pull up the chairs, grab some popcorn, and settle in for an amazing story and adventure and some ideas that perhaps you're going to have to get the journal out and do some writing.
Buckle up, everybody. This is a big one.
Let's go.
Hi, I'm Aiden at Enavive. Are you tired of worrying about what's in your water? Enavive has the solution. From our whole house water purification systems to our fast-filling reverse osmosis units, we can give your family clean, safe water at every tap. Text us now to schedule your consultation and experience water the way it should be, pure.
So on your contact information, Alan, I've got like 2 last names. Is that your preference to use both names or just
what's
Prescott?
my other
Hardy?
Prescott Alan Hardy. Prescott's my first name.
Oh, Prescott's your first name?
Yeah.
Oh, so
there's
Alan,
so many Prescotts in my family that
we go by Alan.
our middle names. Like my son's Prescott Dallin. He goes by Dallin. My dad's Prescott Banguler. He goes by Scott.
Okay.
My grandpa's Prescott William. He goes by Press.
Okay. Press. Okay.
So,
Cool.
it goes back to Revolutionary War.
Prescott does?
Yeah.
Prescott Hardy?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. My forebear fought under a General Prescott at the Battle of Bunker Hill. Named his son after him.
General Prescott.
Wow.
Why does that ring a bell?
That was a pretty famous war. The first person that died at the Battle of Bunker Hill was a young man whose last name was Pollock.
Really?
Yeah. And he was 14. He was accidentally shot. A ship, they were just kind of, the British were harassing the troops as they were putting the fortifications together. Uh-huh. And his father and his brother were helping build the walls, and a cannonball took his head off.
Wow.
And it's a crazy story that I don't know why I know it. I walked.
I knew you would. That's why I just said the question. I said, what general is that?
Yeah. It's, I went to Boston. Have you ever been to Boston?
Yeah. We played a show on the Hard Rock there.
Get out of here.
Yeah, we did.
How cool is that?
It was
Boston,
awesome.
One of my favorite cities.
Private party. It was crazy.
And you played at the Hard Rock?
We played that night. Yeah, it was awesome.
You know, the more I learn about you, Alan, the more of a badass you become. You're like one of the few people that I'm like, what? You played at the Hard Rock in Boston? It's a cool place. I've been to the Hard Rock in Boston.
Yeah, it's a really cool place. It has that big Elvis in the back.
Yeah.
We were right behind that. Right in front of that. It was awesome.
That is
so much fun.
That's badass.
Yeah.
We so you can get in Boston anywhere there's a yellow line painted on the sidewalk. It's called the Freedom Trail. You just start walking and then you're in Paul Revere's house.
Oh, here we are.
Here we are in Paul Revere's house, and you're learning about his silversmithing business and the whole thing. And then next thing you know, there's Old Ironsides. Like, oh, that's still around. That ship is still in the harbor. Like I went through where they did the Boston Tea Party and the Boston Massacre and all the things. I'm a huge fan of history, but I love to walk. And so I would just put on my backpack and take off and just discover the city. Amazing.
Huh. That's on my bucket list. I want to go there and DC.
I'll take you. I'll go with you.
I would love to go.
We played a dozen shows in DC.
Yeah.
So we wandered. Yeah, DC's great. Baltimore.
Yeah.
Went to Alexander Poe's place.
What?
It was great.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I've been to DC, and I think it would take a year
to actually see everything.
Because I was at the, they have the memorial. What's it called? The Smithsonian.
Oh yeah.
Is actually like 12 or 14 buildings.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you can't get through them all.
I'm not kidding. Annie and I were literally running. Because I'm like, Lincoln Memorial next, World War II Monument, let's go. And we were running, honestly, the whole day. Her dad and stepmom had to sit down because they couldn't keep up with us.
Oh my God.
Vietnam Memorial, let's go. Like I was just on it. Korean Monument, come on.
So apparently now what you need is to get some of those Lime scooters or the whatever's down there.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
You would have to do that.
Because otherwise you're sprinting.
Yeah. And poor Annie with her short little legs. I'm
all leg.
I'm all leg.
Mostly leg.
I can walk. I can walk at a pretty steady jog, and Annie is, 3'7".
It's just to you. Let's calm it down a little bit.
So I just want to know why you don't just carry her.
Yeah, Rob. What? Why don't you just carry her? I'm so happy we have this on camera right now.
Fuck you, Alan. Fuck you, Topher. Oh man, babe, I would have if I'd have thought of it.
Here you go, honey. Come on.
Yeah,
Hop on my back, little one. I'll tell you a funny story.
Wow, your face is matching your glasses right now. Rob just felt it. The heat. Oh,
Annie and I weren't married yet. We were dating pretty serious, and I was just dragging her through all of these monuments, and she's just such a good sport. She was just keeping up as best she could. And I'm standing on the Lincoln Memorial, and if you turn around on the Lincoln Memorial, you look across the reflecting pond, and there's the World War II monument, the obelisk.
oh yeah.
Right. So
Okay.
Forrest Gump, there's just tons of movies filmed there, and it is amazing. I mean, I was expecting a bald eagle to fly into and like snatch a fish out of the water. Like I'm thinking to myself, America, you know what I mean? I'm having a moment of like national pride. Like I'm emotional about it. I love this country. I love this country. Served in the Navy, served in the Army. Like I'm having like a spiritual moment, and I'm like, oh my God, this is beautiful, babe. And I turn around, and Annie's up there just like 2 or 3 steps behind me in the Lincoln Monument, putting on deodorant. Like, this is crazy hot. That's what I knew. This is my person. This is what.
Oh my God.
What was this?
When was it?
How long ago was this?
15 years ago. It's been a while. But there was a couple of instances like that where Annie was just like wildly Annie, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. That tracks. This is my person. Yeah.
You see that it took him a minute, okay, to get his wits about him, but he did find a way to circle back and make it sure it's okay if Annie's watching right now.
Yeah, babe.
Good job.
Babe. Yeah. This isn't my first time around. Assholes.
Well, it's my first time around, so it made me my laugh.
Yeah. Be careful.
You gotta look out.
Oh,
We don't want to mess with Annie. That's for sure.
Yeah, she's big magic. I'm fearful.
Yeah, for sure.
As I should be.
You should be.
I got to tell you, I met Alan. We last year, Thanksgiving's Heroes, threw an event at the Midway Bar, which is soon going to be rebranded. Stay tuned. It's going to be amazing.
I need to hear about this, and I'm mad that I don't know already.
Yeah, I don't know what it's going to be either, but I know it's coming, and I'd like to be a
Cool.
part of it. It's like the owner there, his name is Bill Rowe, one of my favorite people, good guy. And is good friends with one of the members of the board, Garrett, and they're like, hey, we're going to throw we're just going to throw a party, and we're going to dedicate it to Thanksgiving Heroes. We're going to have a band called One Punch Opie there. I'm like, One Punch Opie? What is that? And they're like, well, let's go have lunch. We're going to meet the member, the leader of the band, and the owner of the bar. I didn't know any of these people. And I sat down with Alan, and I told my story. And Garrett Schiffman, his superpower is connection. He knows everybody, and he's like, you should know these guys.
Yeah.
You got to meet these guys. That's what he does, and it's amazing to watch how well he can put us together. And I sat next to Alan, and then Alan told his story, and I'm just like, holy cow! Like this. I'm going to be friends with this guy for the rest of my life. Like this, Alan's going to have to like, please stop coming over. Quit calling me. We hosted the event later, and we put it together in like a month or less.
3 weeks.
3 weeks. Like it was a tight, like, hey, let's do this. Boom, boom, boom. We put it together, and it was one of the highest yielding fundraisers for Thanksgiving's Heroes that year for the amount of time and effort. It was bananas. And the people that were there, so there's the regular bartenders that came, and then there was like all of the people, my friends that I was inviting, and all the board was inviting people, and we had the bar packed. And these guys put on just a great show. It was so much fun. People were dancing, and we did our little raffle and our auction, and it was wonderful. It was just a great event, and we're going to be doing it again. Hopefully we can be putting something like that together again, because it was so simple and pure. That's the word I want to use. It was just like, hey, come have some fun, donate some money. Let's feed some families. Like easy. You know what I mean? I didn't have to get a liquor license. I didn't have to get insurance. It was just like, this is a cool place. This is a cool band. Come on, let's go do this. And it was awesome. And I tell that story to introduce you to our audience. Really, we have a tremendous audience, some good people that follow our podcast. But I want everyone on the podcast to know, like, these guys that we have come on to our podcast, Alan's a good example, are people that are good people doing good things in the community. And Alan's hesitation to volunteer to play for free with the band, zero hesitation. It was like, okay.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, let's do this, because he wanted to be involved in what we're doing. And I'm so grateful for that, because I think that we'll continue to have good experiences like that. And why was it important to you to be involved?
You know, I have a lot of reasons to be really grateful in my life. And so, I don't know. And it makes you feel good. I really don't have another explanation than it feels good to do good things.
Yeah.
When you do good things, you feel good about who you are. You feel good about where you're headed in your life.
Yeah.
And you talk about zero hesitation. For me, every member of the band, same way.
Yeah.
Zero hesitation. It's just, they're all that way. And it's great to be around people that are that way. I think it kind of helps. Everybody wants purpose. Everybody's searching for purpose in their lives. And what does that really mean? I mean, it can mean a lot of things to a lot of different people, but I know what it means to me. And to me, it means seeing people that are struggling find a light inside themselves and kind of make a difference for themselves. Because you can't just fix people. They need to have that strength. And we were talking before the show a little bit about how, you know, the food insecurity isn't about being hungry. It's not just about being hungry.
Yeah. There's so much more.
It's about confidence. It's about having self-esteem. It's about having that ability to go forward and do something for yourself that you didn't think you were able to do.
Yeah.
And so, you know, like your stories is inspirational to me. When I heard yours, we sat at that table at Bill's, and I heard your story, and I went, wow, this guy remembered who he was, and he gave it back. Huge. It's huge.
One of the reasons I wanted to have you on the show is because as I've grown up in this, I don't really feel like my life started till I started Thanksgiving's Heroes. I really feel like that was the beginning of me discovering who I was, the refining of who I am and why I was made, my purpose here. And in so discovering my purpose, the reason that God made me, and I'm going to wax a little spiritual right now, but this is why she made me, he made me, whatever your opinion is, and put me here is because I can do this. This is one thing that I can do. And if I honor that, I cannot fail. You talked about your purpose. You talked about your reason, and your reason is to serve and to be in that place. Can we talk about how you came to the clarity of your purpose?
I think since I was a kid, I've always kind of had something for the underdog, you know, someone that's sitting alone or whatever. I always kind of felt bad for that person. I didn't always act on it. I think there's a difference between noticing what we need to do and then deciding I have the courage to do this now, or I have the resolve to do this now, or I have a purpose that lets me do this now. And a real defining moment for me was just, you know, I've been married 32 years. My wife and I got married and had a good life, and we've worked hard.
She's
together.
put up with you for 32 years.
Can you believe it?
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, she could be watching that, and she'd be nodding her head. I have. Yes, I have. Yes, I have, and I deserve a lot.
What's her name?
Sherry.
Good job, Sherry.
Yeah,
nice hustle out there.
Yeah. But we built our life. We worked hard, and then, you know, things go along, and then things go wrong. In 2007, I got a phone call, and she called me. I was just walking into my office, and she called me and said, "My dad's dead."
Ooh.
Oh no.
And her father was a transportation officer for the state of corrections, or the Utah State of Corrections, up at the prison at the Point.
What was his name?
Steve Anderson. And he was taking Curtis Algier
Oh, no way.
to the medical center to get an MRI. And while they were in the room, switching from the metal cuffs to the plastic cuffs, he overtook him and shot and killed him. So
I was working at the prison at the time.
Were you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know him, but I knew who he was.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Okay. So that changed our life.
I can't imagine.
It changed our life in a lot of ways because, you know, my wife is resilient, but I remember walking in one day and she's on the bed, she's just crying, and I'm just going, man, this is going to take some time. We're going to have to take some time. And that's when I started to realize that bad things happen to good people all the time. Her dad was the greatest guy. I can't imagine a guy that is more giving. He would call me up. He'd say, "Hey, what are you doing?" I go, "Nothing." He goes, "I'm coming to pick you up. So-and-so needs help." And he'd come pick me up and we'd go over and help him. And he just did that over and over and over again. And so I really, I learned a lot about service from him. And so, we went through that and we got through all that. And then we got into about, 2001 and just, well, it's a long story. So do you want the whole thing?
Let's go. We're here for a reason.
So I'm in my band room. My wife's in Hawaii. I had 3 kids living in Hawaii at the time. My wife's gone to visit them. And I'm in my band room, hanging some cables, and I fall off the ladder. And I land on the hi-hat right there.
Oh,
it goes into my neck, and it goes up between my jugular and my esophagus 4 inches. And I'm alone in the house. There's nobody in the house. So I'm stuck on this drum kit and I'm going, okay, you're not supposed to pull things out of your body, but I can't take the drum kit to the emergency room. So I just thought about how I landed and I just pulled myself off. I went in the bathroom and I looked in the mirror and didn't see any blood really coming out, but I knew it was going somewhere. So being me, I jumped in the shower, took a shower, got dressed, called my neighbor. He came to pick me up, took me into the emergency. While they're doing this to make sure I didn't nick my trachea, they found a mass in my liver while they're doing the CAT scan. And it was cancer. We didn't even know. I had no symptoms. I was fine. So 0 symptoms that this is happening. So we go in and it's kind of freaking us out at this point, my wife and I. We go in and the doctor basically says, you have 6 months, get your affairs in order.
Oh my God.
And my wife starts crying. I'm crying. And we left and I said, no, I don't care how smart this guy is. I don't agree with that. I'm not doing that. So we kept pushing and got to a point where they got me on transplant list and we're waiting and the mass is growing. So for a liver transplant, the reason they don't resect the cancer out of your liver is because it'll spread. So they're like, your cancer's in Shawshank. Let's leave it there. Let's get you a transplant. Let's pull it all out and just replace it. And so we're waiting and waiting and waiting. And there's a living donor option. I don't know if you're aware of that. They'll take part of someone else's liver, put it in you, and they both grow back.
What?
Really?
They both grow back.
Fully grow back?
They fully grow back.
Huh. And so there was a match for you?
There was a match for me. So this is where the story can get emotional for me. My match was my wife.
Oh.
No way.
And so if
the odds?
If the cancer gets to 5 centimeters, they will not transplant you.
Okay.
Mine was getting there. It was close. We were waiting for a deceased donor, waiting. We were getting close. And so they finally said, let's do the living donor. So on the 26th of July 2002, my wife and I were wheeled in together. She went in first. They took part of her liver, and they took my liver out, gave me part, and we both went into recovery. So we were in the hospital together. Not a suggested double date or date at all. Not a suggested date.
So if they do that, does that mean the recovery would be pretty intense because it has to grow back? What are you hooked up to for all of that?
It grows back so fast.
Really?
It grows back within 6 months, almost.
Get out.
What?
Yeah, it grows back extremely fast. Grows back to 98%. They can't figure out why it doesn't get the other 2.
Huh.
But yeah.
Amazing. So how's your wife doing?
My wife's amazing.
Yeah, she's
doing great.
Completely 98% good to go.
Yeah, she still can take me down anytime she wants. Yeah, she's a tough one.
I got to get to know this Sherry. She sounds amazing.
You met her at the thing, didn't you?
I think I met her.
She's great.
But I don't know if I understood why I should fear her. I just knew there was fear.
There's no fear. She's all love.
Okay.
The woman's all love. I promise you.
All right.
She got out of the hospital and got home. I came home a little bit after her. I was starting to do pretty good. In fact, I was doing a little better than her for a little bit, for a few days. I started feeling bad. I started feeling kind of sick again. And so I remember the first, and this, you can stop me anytime you have
No,
questions.
please.
You're doing great.
So we're coming through that, and we get home. First day, it's the first day we're home at the same time. And we go in our room, and we're like, we're going to take a nap together. So we get in bed, and we lay down, and I'm like, oh, this is perfect. This is so much better than everything else has been. And the phone rings. And it's my wife's best friend, one of her best friends, saying, Tammy's dead, which is her business partner, her best friend and business partner.
Oh,
so
what in the world?
Now my wife is planning a funeral, recovering from having given me part of her liver, and I'm getting sick. I'm getting really sick again for whatever reason. So a few days after that, I'm back in the hospital. One of the sutures had, from all I can surmise, one of the sutures had come loose, and it was leaking bile into me. I got sepsis.
Mm.
The sepsis got so bad that it started eating the new liver. It ate my spleen. It took my 2 top abdominal muscles are gone. These 4. And I was just dying.
Being digested from the inside.
Yeah. So that was July, and I was in the hospital from then and then we get to November. And I'm unconscious. I'm on
5 months.
But yeah, I'm on dialysis. I'm ventilated. I'm basically being kept alive. And the doctor comes to my wife and says, if we don't find another transplant in the next 2 days, he's going to die. And I've been unconscious for about 4 or 5 weeks at this point. So, which is a whole nother story. But because I wasn't unconscious, I just wasn't with everybody. But that night, she comes in, or the doctor comes in and says, we found a transplant. But there's some conditions they don't want to do it. And so I can't talk about all those particulars, but there was a way found around that. And that morning they took me in and started the transplant the next morning. And partway through that, they actually called and said, we're not approving this. And my surgeon said, that's too bad. We started.
Ship has sailed.
She was, I'm already in him. It's too late. And so that happened. And the next thing I remember is, well, I remember a lot of things. The next thing that was with everybody around me was waking up Thanksgiving morning to my son looking at me. And I can't talk because I've got a tube. I can't move. I'm like, I have no muscle left. I can't, you throw a blanket on me, I'm tackled. I can't move my arms, can't move my legs. And so, my son's there, my wife, they come in. My wife was down eating dinner with my family in the cafeteria at the hospital.
Delicious Thanksgiving
really awesome
dinner.
Yeah. Isn't that
in
amazing?
the hospital.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you want to have it there? But, and then from there, we just started the process back. And that's another journey altogether. But it's been a long journey.
Okay. I've got so many questions, Alan. Like, I don't know if we have the time for a single podcast.
My wife left this morning for Costa Rica, so I don't have to be home.
Okay. All right. All right. Question number 1. You're waking up now. You've been in this state of unconscious or relative consciousness. You wake up and there's your boy. Like, what was that? Like, when you woke up and you can't talk, I mean, what happened? Well,
when you say consciousness, I I was in a very real consciousness the entire time I wasn't around. So now I'm trying to figure out where I am.
Wait,
All right. Yeah, we can't go past that. Let's back.
It's really hard, but it's really hard to explain. It's kind of ineffable, in a way. It's really hard for me to explain that. I mean, because we're going to go, well, this isn't life, so it doesn't matter, right?
Right.
I mean, dimensionally, how we exist is just crazy. I mean, really, because we don't have to be in just one place. We really don't. And that's it was a really weird experience for me to experience that, and then just know, you think about quantum physics and all those things, that string theory and all these possibilities that exist. You have to experience them to know if they're real or if they're not, or if it's really hard to explain. And I think for every person, it's very individual.
Okay,
so I'm evading the question.
Yeah.
That
was really good. So if you could, in a sentence, if you could describe the other, is it one other, or were there many others, places that you were? Multiple. And in those other places, were you experiencing other intelligences? Were you connecting with other energies?
Yes.
And were those energies familiar to you?
Some were, some weren't.
Some weren't.
Yeah.
So would you say that there was like her father or and I don't if this is too personal, then I don't want to talk about it, but
I knew there were I saw in my mind a table of people, and there were people I knew.
A council.
I wasn't talking to them. I was not communicating with them. I just saw them.
Okay.
But they were together.
And were they conscious of you being?
Yeah, that's why they were together.
They were there for you.
Yeah. And in this, you have to remember, I mean, I've had some distance from this now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I first came out of it, it was really hard to decipher. And I'm really careful about how I talk about this, because I think everyone's experience is so unique.
Okay.
If that makes sense?
100%. 100%. And I'm not looking to start a religion or dispute one.
Sure.
I'm curious about the experience.
This has nothing to do with religion. It's all spirituality. I mean,
what's the difference?
For me, spirituality is our connection with God individually.
Religion is organized groups.
It's groups, and sometimes they will tell us how we should find God. And I think that the important thing is to find God.
And have that relationship.
Yeah, and if someone's trying to help me find God in a way I can't find him, they're not helping me.
That's not spiritualism then, is it?
No, it's not. It's indoctrination.
Yeah.
And so I think in its care, and I think all that's done out of the best of intentions.
Oh, sure.
Always. But in most cases, not always, but in most cases. But spirituality is such an individual thing, and it has to be.
Yeah. Just like my relationship with you is different than Topher's relationship with you.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about, is a one-on-one connection or relationship.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you'd like to move forward,
you can ask the question again. You can ask it again, because I'm lost now.
Okay, so fair enough. I like this. The question then was, or I would like to ask is, in your journeys in this other, can I call them dimensions? Is that what you'd like to call them, or other realities?
Reality is probably a good word for people.
In these other realities, and you said there was more than one. So in one, there was a table of people to gather together. What
that was just a quick glimpse.
Okay.
So there was no duration there.
Okay.
Alan, if I might interject for 2 seconds, you're talking to two people that we talk about this, and this is wildly fascinating.
Yeah.
If we're more than willing to take any amount of explanation you can give us on your experience with this, would be like, I'm fully captivated right here.
Not skeptical.
Not at all. You're in a safe, super safe place here.
Yeah.
So we're in the safe tree. What was that show with Will Ferrell? We're in
the safety tree.
We're in the safety tree.
Yeah.
Talking about the weight tree. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah. There's no skepticism here. There's just curiosity.
Yeah.
And willingness to understand. And I hope you feel that from us, because I
do.
I'm fascinated. I have an experience, not similar. I have my own experience in traveling to another place and experiencing my experience, and it changed me forever. I'm a different man because of my experience, because the understanding, the awareness changed me, and you can't deny it, can't explain it. And so in my questioning, I don't want to overstep my boundary.
No, I'm fine. I'm pretty comfortable. If I want to say something, I'll just say no.
Okay, fair enough.
Until then, we're going to keep questioning you.
Fire away. Get out the rubber hoses. So the next question, I'm sorry, what you were going to say?
I was just going to say, as we're talking about spirituality, I think one of the things that I really took from my experience was the connectivity that I felt, a connection to all things and people. So that coming out of that, so when you talk about what is your motivation to want to do things, it's because I feel connected to people. I feel like we all are connected to each other, and in ways that we don't fully understand. And
I don't think we could fully.
I think there's some ways that there's certain things people do that can help them experience that and go, okay, now I get it. We're all just part of this big organism. Yeah. But yeah. So with that,
I love that. There's and I don't mean to demean or be, well, I'll tell you, I've experienced ayahuasca. I've sat with ayahuasca several times, and it's the reoccurring thread through all of the experiences that I've had, and my co-journeyers have had that. I cannot harm someone else without harming myself. I cannot benefit them without benefiting myself. It's this weird relationship that we have. And when I do Thanksgiving's Heroes, I know as I serve others, I'm only serving me. And you know what I mean? That's when we talk about the good feeling that I have. I almost feel a little bit guilty, because as I do these things, as we feed these families, I know how great it feels. It's like, it's my own gift. And I think that it's a deeper understanding for me, knowing that in so doing, I'm serving Rob, I'm benefiting him. And as I improve those around me, also when I hurt those around me, I'm only hurting one person. And it's really messed me up. I have a hard time functioning in this business world, because I'm like, well, that's not going to be, that can't do that. That's not going to work, because I would be hurting Rob. And so I love what you said. I feel like I'm in the infancy of understanding this idea, because it's layered. Like the more I realize the serving others, serving myself, loving others, it's this reciprocated love, or even anger. Could be anger. It's a crazy thing to see how closely we're all related, and I think I'm barely getting it, the picture. So I love hearing that from you, because it reinforces the journey that I'm on. So thank you.
I share that feeling of infancy and all that.
Yeah.
But I've heard a lot of people describe experiences they've had with ayahuasca, and I'm going to be honest with you, the experience I had is very, very similar.
Is that right?
Because of the way it makes you feel connected to things. And that's a really big thing that comes from, I think, a lot, there's a lot of controversy around psychedelics and what they do, and if they're helpful or if they're not. I mean, what I've seen is they probably are, for sure, helpful, because I think it helps people tap into something in them. And I think we all can, we just don't.
Right. It's a forgotten thing.
We won't do it.
Yeah. We used to sit around fires and look at the stars and spend time internalizing and connecting, and we don't do that anymore. And it sounds silly, but that's really what it is. It's like the deepest connection to the universe, to God, to insert adjective or descriptive here, right?
Yeah.
We're so distracted anymore.
And there's plenty to distract us.
Yeah.
There's a lot around, and I, so yeah, those experiences were. Ask me any specific question you have, because I'm kind of.
I think I kind of have the grip of it, okay. And I mean, if you'd like to, Toph, if you have questions, that's great.
Was there any did you see or meet anybody that would be noteworthy for us to hear about? And then, I guess my question: what was the energy of this?
You know who I met? Myself.
Go. Let's
I
hear
met
it.
myself. I was fully meeting myself and having a full evaluation of me.
And what did you learn?
That, you want me to say this really nicely, or how should I say it?
Say it.
Whatever you want.
That I suck at a lot of things.
I don't need a journey for that one.
Yeah.
That reel goes through my head pretty much.
So yeah, that there are a lot of things that I need to change. I need to improve. I need to be better at these things.
And top the list, could you give us like 2 or 3? Not to, I don't want to be personal.
Just being patient with the people around me that I love, because it's so easy to take it out on them.
Yeah.
Because they're right there and they're going to forgive you. You know it.
So you can get away with it.
There's no question. They're going to forgive you. And so you show more kindness to a stranger. That doesn't make any sense to me. But I've been guilty of that so many times. I mean, that's one of the things. There are a lot of things, just being more present, being more
Intentional.
And the biggest thing I learned,
I'm listening.
is I deserve to love myself. Because I had no concept of time while this was happening. My wife asked me, she goes, "How long do you think you've been out?" When I finally could communicate. I said, "A few years." I go, 1,000 years? I don't know. Can't be 1,000 years because you're still here. But some of the places it felt like 1,000 years or longer. And I just remember being in this one specific place where I just was stuck. I couldn't move my arms, couldn't move my legs, couldn't move my head. I could only move my eyes where I was. I could only move my eyes. And I just thought, this is what I get. I guess this is what I deserve because of the way I live my life. I guess this is what I get. And you start to get resigned to that a little bit. And it felt like forever. And I'm just sitting there going, "Oh, this is really boring." And I just not super happy. And then at one point I just realized, no, that's not what I deserve. And then things started to change. Things started to move. And I started to be able to move my arms and my legs in my whatever state I was in. I could do this. And I realized that I'm judging myself harshly, and there's no reason to, because we're here to make mistakes. We're here to learn from them. We're here to meet the saddest angels and let them teach us lessons. We're here to walk in our discomfort and sit in our sorrow and learn how to do that, and then bring joy to other people's lives. And as I realized that, I felt free. I started to feel a freedom again, that instead of feeling trapped by myself, and I was condemning myself. And I just wonder how often we do that. Do we condemn ourselves because we feel like we're not good enough? Do we condemn ourselves because we feel like people don't respect us? Instead of just saying, I have divinity inside me. God is in me. Heaven is now. What am I going to do with that?
I really want to ask you a question. Have you ever heard of a book called The Coursework in Miracles?
No.
Never heard of that?
No.
Is that, you notice the thread going on here, right?
Oh yeah.
Like the plant medicine, yeah.
It's remarkable. It's maybe something you don't need to look into it. You got
No. You have it. It's just the carryover to me, because you're right. This sounds like a plant medicine journey done the right way. The conclusions, that even down to like this, the storyline is very similar. You find and you're learning something about yourself. This Coursework in Miracles book, kind of blending the line between religion and spirituality. But it's that connection. It's going to be okay. You've got it.
The theme, if I may.
Yeah, please, because I'm struggling here.
The theme is that you're perfectly created.
Yeah.
You're perfectly made. Even as fucked up as you are, there's no other Robbie as Rob as this Rob.
Right.
You're not going to meet one like this. I'm made this way, and I needed to give myself grace in the growing and the maturing of even in my 50s, I still need to give myself grace all the time, because I could do better. I could have stayed longer. I could have tried harder. I could have diet better, drank less Coke, or whatever. You know what I mean? All of the things we should all over ourselves. And this book talks about, like, it's not about that. It's not about any of those things. It's about realizing, like, this moment matters, and I'm perfectly made to be here right now. This is it. And everything else is an illusion. And all we need to do is our very best in the moment, loving one another as best we can. It's really a very pure message. And it's the message that you're learning while you're traveling to these different realities. And it's undeniable. It really is undeniable. And it's a common thread, and it keeps coming up again and again. And it doesn't matter if you're in South America doing this, or you're in the hospital at the ICU here in Murray. It's the same message. And it's repeated over and over again, to the point where it's kind of like, why aren't we talking about this? Like, what else is there? Why are we talking about and this is counter religion, but I don't need to be forgiven for me doing my very best. When I stand before God and God looks upon me, I will be loved, my best or worst, because I'm, even on my worst day, Alan, it's my best. And I need to be cool with that. I need to forgive myself for thinking impure thoughts, or feeling unworthy, or doubting God's word, or all of these things. There's no reason to beat myself up, because it's okay. And also in my defeating, I know I'm going too long on this, but in my defeating myself and tearing myself down, I am tearing down the amazing gift that I am in other people's lives. When I'm mean to me, when I'm hard on myself, when I shooting all over myself, it's a crazy thing, understanding that and learning it, and then remembering it again and again and again, and having to remember it over and over again. Because the way I was raised is try harder, do better, more, and there is nothing true about those things. I am trying harder. I'm doing my best. I'm pretty tired right now. I'm a little bit hungry. I'm still doing pretty good. You know what I mean? Topher's seen me.
No, I'm actually.
Can you get him a Snickers?
Yeah, for God's sake.
Trust me. If anybody here that knows the big guy needs snacks, I got it.
We're pulling over. Let's do this.
Can you stop at the Maverick, please?
We need a sandwich.
Yeah, 100%. If he gets hangry, we're all in trouble.
Oh man, that is.
Because also with
hangry
comes his distraction level. You'll see it when he's on his motorcycle.
I don't want to see what he turns into when he gets hangry. I've seen the commercials.
It's not pleasant. It's not pleasant.
I want to just side out real quick. Thank you both for that message. I'm struggling a little bit on the personal side with that same top Topher's being real mean to inside Topher at the moment. So I appreciate that. I really do.
I think that it's a male tendency. I think it's any male that's been brought up in our culture has this of like doing more, providing more, being more. It's how we're wired. You come from a sports background, like try harder, less errors, improve. And I just think it's a crazy programming that I think men are facing in volume. I wish I could open up a lot of men's hearts and say, oh, you're doing good. You're going to be all right. You're doing fine. Because I think that we're so hard on ourselves. I've never experienced the feminine condition, but I don't think that women do it to themselves.
I don't think they do either.
They're more graceful with their growth. They're more gentle with their process, where we expect to, now I'm out of high school, I've got to pick a career, or, whatever, like these unrealistic expectations. I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. I don't know. I'm just figuring it out right now. Yeah. And it's okay. It's totally okay. The most interesting people I know don't know what they're going to do when they grow up still. They're still discovering their way through the world, with curiosity and wonder and joy. But I love that message, and I wish that I could remember it all the time, because I slip into this judgmental, it's judging myself, and comparison and criticism. Those are the three horsemen that rob happiness. I slip into this space easily. I don't know how to fix that. You have any ideas?
I'm working on that. I say it comes in seasons.
Yeah.
I think we're a couple of things. I like what you said about you wish you could open men's hearts. I said earlier, my wife left for Costa Rica this morning. She left to Costa Rica with her best friends from high school, elementary school even. They've been friends forever. There's 5 of them, and they are going on their annual girls trip, and they just support each other. They have forever. And I watch what they do, and I wonder why men don't do that more. And why do we have? Why are our egos so big that we can't open our hearts?
Suffering alone. There's suffering alone. There's power in it. The John Wayne on his horse riding off into the sunset. Go ahead.
I disagree. I think it's a new phenomenon, relatively new. You think about stuff like back 60s, 70s, right? You had the Moose Lounge. There were different groups of things that happened. And
where men got together.
Work was really more of that way, in a lot of aspects. I don't know what the catalyst was, but currently men are not talking to men.
So we lost it.
We lost it.
Okay.
That's my opinion anyway.
That's a good, I
think
the way you're saying that, I'm just thinking back to these old ads, and you're just seeing all that, in the Moose Lounge, everybody's in the lodge.
Yeah. All wearing their silly hats, but they're all together, man. They're all together.
Oh, yeah. That was the whole point.
Yeah.
Put on silly hats.
But it's true. Game nights. My folks used to have game nights, and people would come over from the neighborhood. I don't know anyone in my neighborhood. I'm not an active.
Well, when you have a fireworks show that sprinkles the entire neighborhood, it's hard to make friends.
I am the neighborhood enemy. But I do remember growing up, and we would have game nights, and there's no phones or TVs happening. We were all hanging out. The kids were outside riding our bicycles or mischief of some kind, while the parents were inside having a wonderful time and connecting. It's just not a thing that happens anymore. I think even more so since COVID. I think we've become more isolated as a community. That's something, and I'm not doing a plug for Thanksgiving's Heroes, but as I shift into my belief about Thanksgiving's Heroes, I think the power and the food is important, but the power is in the connection that's happening. Yeah. The tribe that we're creating, the pay it forward culture, and people showing up and rubbing elbows and being buds for a few minutes. And then I see on social media where there's people who didn't know each other before Thanksgiving's Heroes who are going on trips to Costa Rica together now, and they're doing these things because we've created this community. And I just think community is suffering right now because there's so much. If you don't believe the way I believe, then you're a bad person, and that's absolutely the bunch of bullshit. It really is. You can have any belief that you want and still be a good person, a great person.
Mm.
Well, truth is truth.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where it comes from.
Well, if I may take us back, I have one more question I want to ask about the unconscious state.
Okay.
Did you reach a point anywhere where you had the realization that you could, for lack of a better way to put this, your brain could tell this liver problem, we're done here, and it's time to start getting healthy? Was that ever a process or anything like that?
Explain a little bit.
So along with the Course Work of Miracles and different literatures and whatnot, there seems to be the one that I'm asking about is a book called Dying to Be Me. Okay. And she was completely 100% cancer, same kind of story. Mm-hmm. She actually died from the cancer. Mm-hmm. She had an afterlife experience, and there was a moment, part of this same spirituality and honestly the same themes. But then there was a point in it where, whether she realized it or something, where she told the cancer, we're done here and enough is enough. And that was part of the realization. Did you experience anything like that? I
didn't during that time, but I have had some of those experiences since. Mm. I did have a conscious choice at a certain point of,
am I going to live?
What do you want to do? So, and I try and reconcile that. It's really, really hard to, these are hard things to talk about because you feel them more than you can express them. And so, but I had a choice to either, it was basically this conversation, are you done or do you want to keep going?
Wow.
And I was like, I want to keep going. But I was fighting the whole time for my family. In my head, I was fighting for my family. I really was not too concerned about myself. I was concerned about them. And because I didn't want them to have to live with that and live with without loss. I didn't want my wife to live with another loss like that.
Mm.
And so, and I wasn't ready. I realized that through my self-judgment that I went through, that I had not learned how to love myself fully and completely. And I needed to figure that out. That it was a part of my journey that I had to figure out.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
So, and I used to be of the mind, like any of macho men, of like loving myself. Like, what does that even mean? But recently I've come to the idea that I cannot fully love my children. I cannot fully love my wife until I fully love Rob, even the bad parts, which is hard for me. I'm selective. I really like that about me. That part, I really like that part. That part over there, not so much. I got to work on that. That's not how it works. And so in your discovery of self-love, can we talk about, like, what does that mean to you?
Well, I'll be spiritual, but I'll grab some scripture here real quick.
Okay.
2 great commandments. Love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, might, mind, and strength. Second is like unto it, love thy neighbor as thyself. I cannot love my neighbor as myself if I don't love myself. I can't.
It's not much love to give them, is it?
I have no love to give them. And if I love God with all my heart, I have to love myself because God is within me.
Okay, so how do you create that?
I think that kind of goes back to Romans 8 to me, where Christ says, if I'm with thee, who can be against thee? What is happening to you in your life that is so bad that it compares to how much I care for you, how much I'm going to be there for you? And, I look at Christ's teachings, I look at everything he did, and I look at it as just this master frequency that it was broadcast, and we're just supposed to find it and tune into it. And then when we grab it, we feel it, and we're like, okay, I can do this now. And because he never said worship me, he said follow me, be like me, become me. And so I think that's kind of the quest I feel like I'm on is that quest of, if he can care that much about me and he says I'm okay no matter what I've done, then I deserve to love myself, because it's almost a mandate from him. I want you to love yourself. And so trying to make myself feel worthy for that is the trick.
So do you mean to say that in not loving yourself, you're breaking a commandment?
Absolutely. I think so. I think we are supposed to love ourselves. Well, for me, it would be breaking one, because I just really want to try and love myself. And I don't always love myself. I have moments where I really despise myself. I go through dark times where I just feel like, what's the point of me even trying to do this anymore? Because I'm trying so hard and I'm just failing.
It feels to me like this would be an exercise in strength, or a muscle, a reflex. And a reflex only happens through years of taking the pitch, catching the ball, doing the thing, right? How do you create the muscle, the habit of giving yourself the grace? Do you get what I'm trying to say?
I do. For me, it's just taking time by myself and just really getting aside. Meditation's huge for me.
Let's talk about that.
Meditation's a huge part of my life.
So what's your meditation practice look like?
I don't really have a very overly formal practice. A lot of people do. I'm not really ritualistic about it. I just sit quietly and I just think. I just get inside and I just go, okay, where are we at?
Do you have a place you sit?
Doesn't matter.
Do you have a time you sit?
Doesn't matter.
You have a length of time you sit?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, so now I'm sitting. I'm on the couch.
Okay.
Whatever, right? Well, I'm someplace. I'm a place that's quiet.
Mm-hmm.
What's the first thing I do to start to tune into this frequency?
Well, okay, here's a practice I do.
Okay.
I get up in the morning and I say, guide me today. I want to be guided today. And I want to recognize what I need to know. I need to want to recognize what I need to feel. And I want to do things that bring peace and happiness to myself and others around me. Just kind of that kind of an attitude. And then around noon or 1, I'll stop and I'll go, how am I doing?
Checking in.
Is there anybody I have to apologize to? Have I been short with someone? Have I Do I need to make an amends to somebody right now? Because have I done something I shouldn't have done? And then at the end of the day, I do the same thing. And
I'm going to stop you. 1 o'clock comes. You know what, Alan? You should have, like, there's a thing. I can't think of a thing. Well, you could.
You shouldn't have said that to someone.
There it is.
Yeah.
Then what do?
Call them. Apologize.
Right then.
Wow.
So you have a clear account.
Then you're free.
Yeah, your account is cleared. And then, okay, then at night again, what time are we talking about?
It just kind of when you're winding down.
Okay.
You just kind of go.
Getting ready for bed.
And sometimes that would have to translate to the next day.
I need to reach out to that guy.
Yeah. But yeah, those just kind of, I just really found that truthfulness is freedom. It says the truth shall set you free. It does. Because you have nothing to hide. You don't have to worry about anything.
So you're clearing the account every day or by the next morning and starting fresh again and again with the intention of asking, like, God, use me. God, what can I do?
Yeah.
And how am I doing in that? Every day, twice a day, checking in. So you have 3 check-ins, asking for the assignment, checking in how you're doing on the assignment, and then at the end of the day, reconciling.
Yeah.
Huh.
And I'm not perfect at it.
No.
But it's something I'm working towards. And I think it's important whenever people ask, what do you do? What's your practice? For me, it's important to say, this is what I do. And I don't always succeed at it. Because I think they'll look at people that have this idea and they'll go, oh, well, they've got it all figured out. No, I don't have it all figured out. But these are things that help me get towards that.
Sure. Let's say you have a moment of intentional meditation. It's not just you're sitting out on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have a chance to really sit into it, like really sit in.
Mm-hmm.
As you're doing that, are you asking that same question? Are you checking in with your heart and seeing where you're at, or do you have any other practices you do?
I just kind of check in with where I'm at and just I just try and. I think one thing that I've struggled with in my life is creating scenarios that don't exist. In my mind.
Yeah.
I'll create this scenario. This is what's going to happen. Oh my hell.
And then he's going to say this, and then I'm going to say that.
No, like,
punch him in the neck.
Exactly. He's going down, brother. Seriously. And I create these scenarios. And so I'll go to the late great Tom Petty for this one. I'm so tired of being tired. And sure as an apple follows a day, most of the things I worry about never happen anyway. So I'm not.
Yeah.
So I'm not.
Quote unquote. Thank you, Tom.
Quote unquote.
That's so good.
And so I'm just trying to learn not to worry about it. It's now. Now is now.
Yeah.
I'm here right now. This is all I got. Oh, love it.
That's my truth right there.
Yeah. You can't change the past. You can't predict the future. You can live your best now.
So would you say in your practice, are you more future minded or past minded?
I'm more present minded.
But you say sometimes you drift into a space that is not productive, a space that you're harder on yourself. Is that past minded or future?
Oh yeah, that would be regret.
Regret.
That's where you live in regret and fear.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing.
I do slip into that, and it's not productive.
Yeah, I'm future minded. I fall into the what if. What if it doesn't? What if? How about it could be? And I just talk myself out of these scenarios that have never even come about yet. I haven't even done the podcast with Alan yet. I don't know how it's going to go, right? And so it's an interesting thing when I ask that question. People are very conscious of, oh no, this is where I kick my ass in the past, rather than in the future.
Although I really don't. If I'm honest with myself, I feel pretty comfortable with the fact that my past isn't perfect and it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I sure have made mistakes in the past, but I don't regret any of it. I mean, that's not true. I regret very little of it because I know it was necessary. You know what I mean? Some of it, I wish it could have gone a little different. I wish I could have handled that a little better. Wish I would have been not hangry when I made that choice or whatever the thing is, right? But at the end of the day, I can't do anything about it. I can apologize. Topher, I'm sorry that it went down that way, man. I've actually had this conversation with Topher, dude. I could have done that better. I messed up. And Topher's like, yeah, you did. But I can't fix it other than that.
But he forgives you, right?
Immediately. Yeah, he came with the intention to forgive me. That was that's what makes Topher one of my best friends in the world. He showed up wanting to forgive me, even though I wasn't prepared to forgive myself. So
he's got that energy.
He's got that energy.
Yeah, I feel it.
And I think that that's something that I'm lucky to have. I count myself very blessed to have that connection with men at that level, that friendship. And Topher knows my group. He's part of this like select crowd. Fucking guy. Oh man, gets me going.
Yeah,
and I'm just a lucky dude to be surrounded by that. And I attribute it to being willing to receive that. I think that that's something I was looking for, and so I'm grateful to have this pack of dudes, pack of wolves. Everybody should have that. Every man should be looking for that. And I think when I see you up there with Adam and the boys, and you've got some friendships where I can see like they're deep. You've been friends with these guys, and you've known them for a long time and been through it. They've seen you in your best and they've seen you at your worst, and they still let you hang out. How is that possible?
Yeah. Why do you guys still love me? I don't get it.
Yeah.
I
was a jerk last time.
Jason and Adam and Scott in the band,
the boys.
Jason calling me all the time in the hospital. Dude, what do you need? Do you need what can I bring you that they won't give you? Like, you're not supposed to bring me stuff they won't give you.
However, I could go for a Twix.
And I remember one day after I finally got back to solid foods, he goes, "What do you want?" I go, "Will you bring me some corn dogs?" He brought me some corn dogs.
Nice.
Best meal I've had.
Oh man,
ever.
That's so cool.
A couple of corn dogs, and green Jello. First time I had green Jello.
So good.
Yeah,
that's amazing. So, well, Alan. So now I want to go back and I want to kind of reset. We've had this experience. You're waking up in the hospital. You're surrounded by your family. You've had this time, and you're starting now to what's the word? Integrate the messages, the lessons along the way. You're healing your body again. What was the hardest part in that process? Was it gaining that muscle back? What was the hardest part in your recovery?
Not being able to talk to anybody,
because you had the
not being able to move my body at all. That was the worst part. That was really because my kidneys failed and everything failed, so my water had nowhere to go. So I was 300 pounds with water. My calves were this big around.
What?
You're a water balloon.
I was a water balloon
with bones.
So,
and how did they get everything jump started again?
Well, when everything started kicking back in, I went in 6 weeks from 300 pounds to 150 pounds.
So it drained right off, but you had no mass.
I had no muscle. So
when you were immovable, if you had no muscle and
I couldn't move.
You were that heavy.
I couldn't move.
You were stranded.
They moved me with a crane, Hoyer thing. They'd pick me up and move me into a bed and drop me in it. I mean, talk about. My son came in one day and he said, "Have you lost every ounce? Do you feel like you've had every ounce of dignity stripped from you?" I said, "Yes. Every single inch of it is gone. I can do nothing for myself. I'm an infant." Mm. And it's such a realization to just know I depend fully on everyone around me. I can do nothing for myself.
Oh man, as a dude, as a man, your ego, that would be so hard to rely on others at that level. And then also the knowing that like, I've got nothing to hide. This is it. Yeah. This is the mechanism. This is all of it.
Yeah.
There's nothing, no dignity left in it. That gets all there.
This is the number one thing from Scotty, by the way.
Really?
100%.
We got to get him on.
Yeah.
And talk about this.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious.
Oh, we had one of our brothers back in December. He's 35, triple bypass surgery, heart attack, and long story short, he got sick right after it. He coughed so hard that he broke the wires on the sternum. The sternum separated. I'm not sure exactly, but the punchline is staph infection. Had to go back in. Had like 4 surgeries in a week. He was like 50-50 on the line if he was going to make it or whatnot.
Plus he's diabetic, which is like 70-30. Like the numbers of this young man making it it's a miracle. It's straight up a miracle. And this kid, it seems to, I'm sorry, I'm taking over. He's the kind of kid that makes up his mind. He's so,
he's our tech guy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but he's hard-headed. He makes up his mind about something, and that's just how it's going to fucking be. And I think this guy decided, okay, this is what we're going to do. And he just like it's just a miracle hearing his story. I'd love to talk about
That's
it.
amazing.
It is amazing.
But where I was going with that, and the reason I brought it up, it was that truly was his big takeaway. Like he's been an infant. His whole outlook towards Kira and everything that's going on. He's changed on that one premise. Dignity's gone. He couldn't do anything. They moved.
Yeah, they bought a house right before all this went, or in the process between the surgery and I helped him buy a house, and then he was back in the hospital again.
He had to watch his wife and 2 kids, and the rest of us all go and make this happen, and he couldn't do anything. And it was same thing. It was the most humbling, no dignity left. And it changes you. It's not something that we easily, because you're supposed to be the provider and the protector. This is your job. And like, I have that complex. How dare I'm not allowed to break. That's not even an option.
No excuse.
Yeah.
Get back to work. I think about Scotty and his will. We got to have him on. I got to talk to him about that. He just had this, has this amazing will. I said stubborn. That's not the right word. It's a will.
But to understand it, if he does, there's no moving it. Like he made a decision. Oh, I had a couple conversations with him, and he did. He had that decision.
Made up his mind.
Absolutely not. That's it.
Yeah. My kids need me. My wife needs me. What do we got to do? Yeah. He's been through it.
So that similar
Story.
notion of, okay, am I going to roll over or stand up?
Right.
I remember being in the ICU right after I woke up, and I'm laying in my bed, and my nose is itching. I remember this. I can't move my hands to get up to itch my nose, and I can't tell anybody my nose itches. So my nose itches, and I look across, and there's this guy. He's a big guy, and they're moving him from one gurney to the next. And the thought that was in my mind right when I looked over there was, I thought of the scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz. I'm like, how are they going to stuff straw back in me? That's what I was thinking. How are they going to put straw back in me so I can? Because I was maybe a little loopy. I don't know, but that's what I was thinking. And I looked over there, dragging that guy over, and I went, that's how it's going to happen. They're going to drag me until I can do it on my own. But I'm just going to have to be dragged around. And I don't like the concept of that at all. But that was a reality.
So did you have to then go to physical therapy and walking and learning how to do all of the things again? Like
I had to learn how to walk again. I had to learn how to swallow. Walking was the hardest. Getting that going, man, that was tough.
It's amazing because I saw you walk in here like it was no problem. Like you just ambled in.
They let me go. I got out of so I left January 19th, 2002. I got out of rehab. Yeah, I went home because I could walk 200 feet with a walker.
You were ready to take on the world.
And they sent me home with that in a wheelchair, and I never even opened the wheelchair up. I said no. And I had a therapist that came to my house, and they said, you will walk with a cane for the rest of your life. And they gave me a lifetime handicap sticker for my car.
Yay.
And said,
well, hopefully you didn't get rid of that, though.
I kept that. I threw the cane away, though.
Exactly.
Handicap sticker. We're doing that forever.
Yep. I get to park
Don't
where?
tell the state.
Wasn't us.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you know what? I like that story about Scotty because it's totally, you just decide. Or people will decide for you.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. It's interesting that your only power sometimes your only power is to make the next right decision. And I like that. I lean into that quite a bit when I feel overwhelmed, especially like I don't know which way is up. I don't know where to go. I don't know who to turn to. So what do I need to do? Just the next right thing. That's it. And do not worry about anything else. And I think there's some power in that. Yeah. So, okay. So now we're in recovery. You're doing the physical therapy. You're on the mend. Mm-hmm. And would you say that how are you doing?
Okay. So I'm doing pretty good. I'm starting to get to where I can, they really leave you on your own in therapy. They will be like, okay, here are your clothes. and here's a grabber, and here's a
Figure it out.
Be dressed, be ready at this time. So you just got to take you forever to get dressed. It's crazy. Grabbing this little, imagine putting socks on with a grabber. It's really fun. But so I'm doing that, and I'm starting to feel a little better. And then I start kind of hallucinating a little bit. So I'm starting to kind of check out. My wife's like, what's going on? Because I was in this, like, they take in and they'll like have you cook a meal for yourself. So I'm in the kitchen, I'm cutting up my stuff, and my daughter's with me, and I look up above the fridge, and I go, and I had a speaker in there. I was listening to music while I was doing it. And I told my daughter, you better turn that down because that guy on top of the fridge is trying to sleep. She's like, there's one on top of the fridge trying to sleep. I went into a full psychosis where they had to strap me into the bed because I was fighting so hard, and I didn't sleep for 5 days.
What caused that?
It was anti-rejection med they were giving me, tacrolimus. It has a very, very small chance of throwing you into a full psychosis.
What?
So that's where I lost most of my weight.
It was in the struggle?
Because I was fighting, and my wife's sitting there going, this is worse than, she goes, is it just going to be like this forever? They couldn't figure out what to do. They threw everything but the kitchen sink at me. They tried to sedate me. They did everything. I just would not stop. So my daughter figured it out. She went online and she went and said, it's tacrolimus. And they said, no. She goes, it is tacrolimus. And my wife said, yes, it is. Take him off it. And that was January 2nd. They took me off it. The 3rd is my birthday. So they're all calling, the kids are calling, are we going to see Dad tomorrow? And she's like, no, we're not going to see Dad tomorrow. Dad's crazy right now. And then that next morning I woke up and said, hey, babe, what's going on?
Just like that?
Yeah, just like that.
Back?
Yeah, back.
Wow.
Insane. So
Medicine.
that was the end of my crazy journeys. And then from there on out, it was just hard work.
Yeah. And regular crazy.
But the work is hard.
Okay.
And regular crazy.
Yeah.
I'll stick with regular crazy for the rest of my life.
I mean that in a loving way, you know.
I do know. I take that as a compliment.
Yeah, you're welcome. Sane people are uninteresting. Let's only bring in the crazies for me, please. That's amazing, Alan. So what a journey. What a journey. There's so many lessons along the way, so many opportunities that we could just deep dive into this or that. And I appreciate you sharing your story with us. As you are in this space now, you're in this consciousness, you're in this part of your life. What is something that you could share with our audience that would be meaningful, that you could say, this is the thing, here's the thing?
I'm always a tiny bit hesitant to just talk about what I've gone through because, I mean, it was traumatic to me. And a lot of people, when I talk to them about it, they'll say, oh, well, I went through this, but it's nothing compared to what you went through. And I think that's not true. I really don't. I think that everything everybody's going through is their thing. And why my thing was as hard as it could be for me, their thing is as hard as it can be for them. Mm. And so just understanding that it's okay to go through super hard things, self-inflicted or not, it's okay. And maybe a great lesson I learned from my wife early in our marriage was I was complaining about someone one day and I was kind of judging them. And she looked at me and she said, maybe you should just love a little more and judge a little less. And I went, that's probably a good way to be. So I guess what I would say is I hope I'm learning to love a little more and judge a little less with people around me, to know that hurt people and they're going through what they're going through and they're doing the best they can. So maybe if we all just kind of have that kind of compassion for each other, then things are going to be okay.
Needed message, my friend. That is a needed message indeed. And I'm grateful that I get to hear it from you. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's
very
powerful.
Much.
That is, folks, there it is. There's the lesson. And I think that if we could have that perspective, the world would be a better place. The world would be a much better place because it gives you the chance to it's not this person being hard on me is not about me. It's about the journey that they're going through and they're hurting. And That's powerful. Thank you. Well, Alan, we're going to have you back on. There's so many things I still want to talk to you about, but I feel like we've reached the mark. We were at a spot where I'd like to kind of drop the mic, and that's your message is that's an exclamation point for the things we've been talking about this whole time. Incredibly grateful for you to be a part of this. We are going to share this out, and we would love you in our audience to share this message as well, because this is something that is a much needed message. It doesn't matter that it's coming from the American Masterminds or wherever. This is a message that the world needs to be thinking about all the time. I believe that, because there's so much truth in this, regardless of belief. There's some truths in here that can't be denied. And so please share this message. Please like this so that we can promote this opportunity, because we would like to continue to bring value like this to our audience.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't you agree? Thank you, Alan.
Alan, thank you so much.
Thank you both for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Appreciate it.